Welcome back to Marta's Planning Mess. We're going to go over my journaling planner, which is a Papertess Chapter 25 yearly notebook in the B6 size, and it is a full year edition. Now, I came off of last year using Hobonichi Weeks, and this is the EBAC, and I didn't start it until I had never really heard of Hobonichi till maybe the spring of last year. And so by the time I decided I wanted to really try it, I had to wait till like June the 1st to order just this second book. It's pretty narrow, but you can see it fluffed out a lot because I use this for almost everything. And I did a lot of memory planning. You can see stickers, painting. I love this, but this thing is heavy and it's just half a year. So I went ahead and bought in September my Hobonichi Cousin for next year. That was what I was going to use. And as this year was winding down, I'm like, it's too big. Can't do it. Can't carry that around with me everywhere. So I had ordered from Wonderland 222 a B6 notebook. In fact, here it is. And I had been using this to track financial stuff and meals, just different things like that. And I was like, I love this size. And when I just take this with me in my purse, it feels so nice. I have this other little notebook in here. I just really, really love the feel of that. And so I decided I wanted to check out everybody's B6 that I could find. I settled on Papertess because she's the one person. The one thing that frustrates me with the Hobonichi Weeks is that I have to access 3 sections every time I'm in it. The monthly, and then flip over to the weekly, and then flip over to the daily. So I'm in 3 sections back and forth, and sometimes that can feel a little schizophrenic. And I get it. A lot of people want to just see all those things together, and that works for a lot of people. But I was like, because she has everything in order, you have a monthly section, then you have a weekly page, and then 7 daily pages, and then the next week's page, 7 dailies, etc., until you get to the next month. I thought this is perfect. So I went ahead and ordered it. The other thing is it has 100 blank pages in the back. So the daily pages are not dated. So trying to figure out how to use this, I got this in November probably, or October, can't remember, but I messed around and I made copies of it, and I came up with layouts, and I got to show you because I've probably shown it on here several times, but like I came out with layouts trying to figure out, what is going to work for me. Love this thing. But as I'm carrying it around, even though it is smaller, look how big that is. That's bigger, by probably 50 pages. It's thicker than a Hobonichi Cousin. And so I'm thinking, will I want to carry this thing around? Now, I'd already determined I was not going to put stickers in this and fluff it up and chunk it up. I wasn't going to do that. But I was just like, this is not going to work. So in the midst of that crisis, which was also brought on by the fact that this has a horizontal weekly layout, which I do not like. And I was planning to just kind of draw over or use. That's why I had so many layout ideas of how to figure out to get my vertical weeks in here. When I found out that Sterling Ink made a weeks size vertical planner, that kind of solved it for me. This is what I'm going to use for that, and this I'm just going to use for journaling. So it went from kind of a being everything fits in here to I'm using this for journaling and financial tracking. And health tracking, although I'm trying to move all my health tracking into this girl because this is with me at all times. When I go to the doctor, I can reference this and not have to carry this with me. So financial things, I need a lot of pages for that. So that fits in here quite well, and I'm journaling every day. So that's the use for this. Now let's get into it. I haven't done much on these pages. I may, but I did fill out this one. These are cute little Aura Estelle stickers that I got because I ordered an Aura Estelle cover, which is quite nice, but it does make this even more bulky than it already is. So I'm currently, this is from someone's Etsy shop, trying to find a cover for the Papertess B6. That is my one frustration, is that nothing fits. Even if you find a B6, I mean, none of these kind of clear cover, slim covers like this. I love something like this where it's got a little snap, it's got a pen loop. Well, this one had one. I cut it off because it wasn't quite big enough for my pen. But this, you know, they don't have any kind of cover like this for B6. It's such an odd size. So I got this from someone's Etsy shop, and it does fit, and nothing else has fit. But that's okay, because I'm not carrying this with me too much. I don't expect it to get too dinged up. Reference and index pages. I haven't thought of anything to put on there, and I may leave them blank, and I may fill them later with something that I just can't live without. Here's your yearly layout. I've decided that's going to be photo of the month. So coming into February, I'll figure out what the best photo is from January, print it, and stick it in there. So I'm looking forward to seeing that laid out. Home cooked meals. I kind of do this at the end of the week. The home cooked meals I liked for the week, I'm going to fill out in these days. This is just a little reference for me to go back and be like, I'm in a meal rut. What can I do? Okay. Health log number 1. I've got all these symptoms I like to track. And then they also have these month and these ones. So this is where I put my mood tracker. And then here I've got some other health symptoms like shots and that sort of thing that I'm tracking in this section here. Now, again, I'm tracking it in both places, basically because I kind of committed to doing it in here. Maybe when I get to quarter 2, I'll find some other use because I haven't filled this out yet. Who knows? But for right now, it's in both places because I started this before I got the other book. All right, so let's start the month of January. So you get this nice spread for your monthly view, and I use that as a normal calendar. And then you get two blank pages. So I have 2 accounts that I keep track of. I have one that pays bills, and I don't really use that much, but I use it to, it's mostly automatic bills come out, and that's where the money goes in. So 1 month's worth of transactions will fit in this area pretty well. And I've tracked it, and that's the same size notebook for 6 months. So I'm pretty confident about that. And then here, I'm keeping track of like credit card data, what's getting paid off. And then I also give myself a weekly budget that is tied to a second account, which I keep track of in the back, in those 100 pages in the back. And so as those get totaled up and averaged, etc., then I put that information here. So this is kind of like a financial dashboard, accountability kind of thing. All right, here's the weekly spread. I decided for this horizontal thing, the only thing that works well for me is keeping track of meals, which I'm already doing in my Hobonichi weeks. So I didn't want to switch that out of there into here. So I decided to just kind of do daily highlights. And so that's what I'm doing. I also have habit trackers here. I didn't keep up with this. I like having habit trackers here, but I know myself, I'm not good at keeping up with them because this book I don't always reference daily, or at least not the weekly spread, because it's not a vertical spread, which is what works in my brain. So yeah, that is probably going to disappear. So here I have a space for a media log and even a to-do list if I want it. This is a timeline, and I just have little icons for what I did every day. I love doing this, but I need to figure out some more icons for some of the things that I don't know. And then journal and weather. And so like if I didn't even get into media, that section's blank. Journal, and then we've got those little icons there. I'm not super good at that, but at keeping up with this, but it's something I can backfill because I've got a lot of this information in multiple places. And I haven't put in my weather because I can reference that from multiple places. But to me, it's interesting to see how the weather correlates to what I write about, if there's any correlation there. So lots of journaling. If my journaling goes, I'll write down to here, and here it even went to there. So it was a big day for things to say. Here's this week. So weekly highlights. I haven't filled in too much here, but I've kept up with my journal. The last 2 days, today's Friday, so I've got a couple days of backlog journal to do, but I'll get that done. And this is what it looks like when you haven't filled anything out. I decided to change my format a little bit because as much as I love how this looks, it's ghosting so much through that I really don't like that. So I like this. I've got the day here with the W and then the number of the day there. And I don't really have to put January because you can tell it's January with that right there. So that's my plan. All right, February, obviously all that is blank. Okay, so let's go to the back just so you can see some of those spreads. Here's my financial tracker. This is our account where we actually like buy groceries and gas and that sort of thing. I do have a few automatic transactions that come out of there. So this is just a reminder of, hey, don't forget you have to pay for that on this date. So I gave myself a page per week, and that goes all the way till here. This is a sleep log. I love seeing sleep logs, and so my watch records all this data, so I kind of go back at the end of the week and fill it in. But I'm curious, this will be the number of hours I slept, and this will be what times of day. So I start at noon, and I go till 11 the next day. I'm not a big napper, but if I did, it would show up, in some of these other places, and sleep scores are written down there. So that's watch data. I can do that. I can do a month at a time if I want to. It doesn't have to stay up to date and get missed. This is a tracker for reimbursements that I made. I do purchasing for my kids' school and for my church fairly regularly. So an expense report every month needs to be filled out. And I'm just curious, how much am I spending while I do that? I've never kept track of that before. So it's going to get track of this year. This is the last time I list. So for physicals, dermatologist, etc., all those things, I'm going to keep track of those in here. Okay, these are grades for 2 of the classes I teach at my kids' school that I actually grade. I do K through 8 art, and I only grade the 5th and 6th classroom and the 7 and 8 classroom. Myers-Briggs personalities, I find that fun. Okay, book review. I added that this week, and I've been doing a lot of Audible, and so I bought. You can buy like 1 book a month, or every other month, depending on how many credits the book is worth. And so I'm also, of course, downloaded a lot of freebies like Jane Austen and that sort of thing. So I've been listening through those, and I decided I would like to fill this in, and then also keep track of the dates. And how many star review I give on these books. I think in my I decided to use my Hobonichi Cousin as a memory keeping book only, and so I think that's where these little book review things, I made these that I print off, and I can put down the dates that I was listening to them, and then any notes I have on the book there. So these I think will go there, but for right now it's just taped in here so I can move it later. And then what else do we have? Place to list TV series that I'm watching. I haven't really gotten into any this year yet. Highlighter, swatches, password list. Don't worry, these are all in code. You would never know what I meant. And then these are the rest of my Audible books I haven't listened to yet, because all the ones I listened to when I started this in the fall are in my Hobonichi Cousin as part of each daily page. So yeah, these are going to just stay here. This is something I made. This is something you can get from Salty Katie. She's on Etsy, and she makes these different sizes, and it just kind of sticks in here. It's got a pen loop. It works pretty well, but I kind of tend to keep it in the back. And I haven't really dedicated a pen to this yet. But I made this for myself. Oops, we're losing. This is a place to house different sizes of sticky notes. Well, I think it actually kind of goes this way. So I have access to them without carrying. I mean, you could carry a lot of weight in sticky notes if you took them as they come out of the package. So this is a way to kind of slim it down and yet still have multiple sizes available. So that is where I'm at in my journal planner, and I do really love how this feels. There's something about how that feels in your hands. It feels good. So this is going to be something that I'll enjoy going back and looking at it and reading journal stuff. How did I feel about things? I'm trying to be more attuned to feelings and dealing with them and journaling is very helpful to that. So I'm looking forward to using this for that, even though it is not exactly the intention I had when I bought it. We kind of live and learn and morph. And from where I was at starting in September 1st, when I ordered my Hobonichi cousin in weeks, to where I'm at now is a very different place. When it comes down to fall this year and I have to make some decisions on what I'm going to do, I don't know. I might go a completely different direction. I might get several things, but I really, again, consistency is important to me. That's my word for the year. I don't want to planner hop. I want to try and make it work. And that's what I love about all of these planners that I'm using. The Papertess, the Sterling Ink, the Hobonichi Weeks. They have some layout in them, but they are totally customizable. If you get to a point where you're like, this does not work for me anymore, can't stand it, you just remake it. You draw different lines. It's like you can bullet journal within a structured journal. So, and because the paper is so thin, it's not super heavy. So I really like that because I struggle to find the perfect layout. It changes every couple months. And so I can just change with it. And look, I mean, look at this. There's nothing. It's a completely blank page. I could put one day here, one day here, one day here, one day here, and do other things in the back. There's so many ways to use this space. So I could start off saying I want to journal a whole page every day, and I could come to the end of this time period and be like, that doesn't work for me. I don't care about journaling anymore. I want to do a drawing, or I want to keep lists in here, or who knows what I'll decide. Or just changing the shape. In fact, I've even changed it from here because I've loved this layout with this kind of in the middle. But what's frustrating me is I'm finding my journaling is bleeding over to here, and that going from here to here. And I thought about switching those around, but I finally just thought I don't need those to be divided. I don't need as much room. I don't need all this for my media log. So I moved to the media log here, and this is the little timeline with icons, and I can just journal. And if I end here, I end here. So that's where I'm at. Hope this was helpful to someone. If you're considering a Papertess Designs, it feels so luxurious. And she makes these in A5s, B6, A6. She has a manager's notebook, which is a B5, which is quite large. It's like happy planner size, classic size. And she even has some traveler notebook size, which is slightly wider and slightly taller than this. It's kind of like it's kind of like a B5 cut in half vertically. Anyway, lots of different things. I recommend her products. They come from Germany, and I feel like it was 2, maybe 3 weeks at the most for it to come, which is about the same for about the same amount of time as Hobonichi. Hobonichi was a little faster, but they're also bigger organization than hers is. So I think she did well for it being her own private business. Anyway, good quality. I recommend it. And yeah, hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how these are being used.